so you've been filing these cases, you talk with the U.S. attorney, and a lot of times to resolve it. But, how do you get the client to pull the trigger on a lawsuit? David, on this particular case, was the client fearful of filing a lawsuit, both the afraid of suing the government, and secondly, the costs associated with it?
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting. This comes up for a lot of attorneys ask this. How do you get the client to file a lawsuit? And it's kind of an odd question in a way. I think it makes sense before you've done one of these, right? And like for him, for this first one, I was a little more hesitant. I wasn't like pushing as hard. But once you've had the experience of how this works, there is no convincing the clients, the same as telling them to appeal or do something else. I just I say, hey, listen, this is an absurd denial. To me, this is an illegal denial, and this is your remedy. Mm-hmm. If you want to remedy this, this is it. If you want to refile, let me tell you what's going to happen. They're going to give it these days. They're going to give it to the same officer, and you're going to get the same result. If you want to appeal it within USCIS and have them internally, the people who literally gave this officer instructions to make it really hard to have this be approved in the first place, okay, you can go down that route. Mm-hmm. If you want a result, then a lawsuit is the way to do it. Mm-hmm. And so I think after you do your first lawsuit, I think you kind of stop asking yourself that mm-hmm. question, like, how do I convince? I'm not really convincing any clients. I'm giving them, laying out the options. And it's so obvious that this is the only option that's going to work for them that they're naturally going to select it.
Yeah. A lot of lawyers I work on their first case or second case, they might take the case pro bono, and I might do, if it's a sympathetic client, I might go low bono to just create the relationship with the attorney and show them how it works. But if it's pro bono, if it's your own lawsuit, like with David, with the tour manager, if you file the lawsuit, you might turn a denial, you might erase a denial and turn it into an approval. Mm-hmm. If you refile, you might end up with two denials. Yeah. So you can either have two serial denials, or you could just clear up your record and have CIS be somewhat afraid of you in the future, because you're actually going to file that lawsuit, and you're going to push them and make them actually follow their own policy manual. It's kind of crazy, but follow the regs, follow the rules. And I think once you've done a couple of lawsuits, and with David, in the beginning, we would do a Zoom call together, and I would walk him through the ECF, the electronic case filing. So the hardest part of the lawsuit really is the mechanical working with the government filing system, because there's nothing like it out there anywhere else. So you're not going to have it's not like INS Zoom or, some kind of form software. It's its own entity. So I kind of trained David, and now we flipped it. David's doing the writing, and he's doing this, and we can basically just split the work, get the work done fairly quickly, file that lawsuit, and then we're seeing results in 4 or 5 weeks after that.
Nice. One thing is to get clients prepared for this. Whenever I'm doing employment-based cases, which I try to do less and less nowadays because they're so time-consuming, is I just tell them, okay, so once it's filed, you may get an RFE, and then you may have to sue them. So it's just part of like the game plan. That's right ahead of time. This is what we're going to do. And so I really put them in the right mindset, because one of the first cases I had that needed a lawsuit, I was so hesitant because I was unsure what it is, that I kind of like wasn't positive, in that era of uncertainty caused us to go the AAO route, which was a disaster. And the AAO actually remanded the case, said our arguments are correct. But then they remanded, we wait 3-4 months and then get another RFE. So it was like complete waste of time. If we used those initial arguments to the court, we would have been approved. But AAO said, okay, remand, give them some more time. And by that time, the client company went out of business. So it was like moot. So they dragged it out for over a year until the person went out of business. And that's their way of really screwing the American public, because they're going to invest millions of dollars here. So it really just hurt America in a grand way.